I'm Gordon Bull, and I'm the head of the School of Art here at the Australian National University. This is a graduating exhibition. It's the biggest event on our calendar. It represents the culmination of 3 or 4 years' work for our students, and it's always a delight to see. We have about nearly 40 honours students and 70-odd third-year students exhibiting. In this main gallery, we exhibit just a sample, a single work usually from each of our honours students. But then the whole of the school, which is quite a big area, is cleaned up. All of our studio working spaces are smartened and hung as a gallery. So what you see in the main gallery is a sample of the work, and then around the school you'll see a selection of that larger selection of that body of work from each student.
Yeah, my name is Heike Qualitz, and I've just finished a Bachelor of Visual Arts with honours. So just finished 4 years in the sculpture workshop. I sure did. Yeah, the piece is called the Impulsometer, and it's a work that's based on my inquiry into sound and sculpture, and the work basically works on the physicality of sound in the sense of that it's working with a low frequency sound wave that is generated through the speaker, from an amplifier through the speaker, and it sends a signal into the ball. For me, it's a representation of a very emotional sense, emotional state, and yeah, that's what that work, that's I suppose where the title comes from. So it's about the visual information and the audio information that we receive, but there's sort of the little spaces in between that evoke emotional responses, and I think that's what I wanted to explore with that work. And the way it's balanced, it's for me reflecting sort of fine emotional balances as well. So it's a very precariously balanced work that even makes me nervous every time I look at it. Because the sound that's being emitted through the speaker is only very infrequent, so there's that sense of what is happening, is something happening or not. And yeah, so that's also been an aspect that I haven't explored in work before.
I'm George Emerson. I did honours in photo media at ANU. This work's about how a screen aesthetic can also be viewed as a social aesthetic. I interviewed a lot of people before photographing them this year, and I found that the screen's kind of embedded into a lot of people's lives. So this work's about showing that something embedded in your life can also be embedded in your consciousness. I find photographing friends allows me to get the image I want out of them, and you know, everyone's more at ease, easier to work with. Makes it a lot easier to do reshoots as well.
First of all, the program itself drives students to produce a body of work for examination at the end of their program, and what we see today is a selection from that whole process of a year's work towards developing a particular body of work for exhibition. What really pleases me about it is that it's really diverse. It's not just diverse in the mediums that people work in, those discipline bases, but within disciplines, within painting, you'll see an extremely wide variety of approaches to a painting practice. And I think that is effective because it reflects our emphasis on bringing out individual capabilities, individual creativity, individual capacity for innovation.
I'm Tracy Pateman, and I've just finished a Bachelor of Design Arts in gold and silversmithing at the School of Art. These objects are all tea-related objects, and they've all been made primarily using sterling silver. They were designed to try to reflect the time, so I was looking back at other periods in history, in design history, and particularly I was looking at 1930s in American design, North American design, and the Memphis design movement in Italy in the early 80s, and looking at how those designers very deliberately tried to reflect the times in which they lived. And so I was looking at the what are these times that we live in? So I think that the prevailing mood is one of fear of the future. In the early America, it was optimism about the future. In the 80s, it was hedonism and excess, and today it's fear of the future. Not that this is the first time we've lived in fearful times, but particularly the changing dynamic in world affairs, and also, of course, environmental change, climate change. And so I was trying to think about how you might reflect that in designs for the times, in the design of these objects. And I was really thinking about the joke that humans are sort of playing on themselves now with climate change, and that we emerged from the oceans, 540 million years ago, and now we're about to be engulfed by them again. And I wanted to make some designs that I guess provided a form of solace, in a way, to our very rich and happy lives. But so these objects are designed to look like primordial deep sea creatures, and are meant to have these interactive features so that you're drawn to use them and play with them, and encourage a sort of a playful form of interaction. It's like the teapot took nearly 3 months on its own to make, so they were quite challenging for me to make, yes.
Look, people love our final year show. We have a great deal of support from the Canberra community. When we have our opening celebration on Friday the 4th at 6 o'clock, we'll probably have 2,000 people attend that event, and the show will run until the 13th of December, and we'll have a large number of people walking around the exhibition over that not quite 2-week period. People need to come and see the show. It's a terrific experience. You get a real sense of the work of the school, even while it's in exhibition mode. Our studios are always exciting places to have a look at. When they're full of this terrific work, it's doubly rewarding.